Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to Season 3, Episode 18 of Hit the Books, podcast all about sports betting, the best bets you should be taking, and everything surrounding sports. We're here, Week 17 of the NFL season. Regular season, the NFL is wrapping up quick. 16 games this week, none on Monday. Fantasy leagues wrapping up as well. College bowl games and more this week. Some news out of the NFL and more, like I said. Let's jump into this week's episode and introduce my co-host, the whole crew back here this week. Huff, Ace, and Mackie. Huff, let's start off with you this week. What do you got here, buddy? Week 17, we're here. NFL's cooking. What do you got?
Yeah, not much going on. A lot big week in college football. Obviously, a lot of bowl games on right now. Watching WVU, and obviously we got the New Year's Six Bowl coming up this weekend. A lot of good football, like you said, playoff football coming around for the NFL. So, lots of good sports going on right now, but mainly a lot in the football world. I'm excited to talk about it.
Heck yeah, love it. Let's move it over to Ace. Ace, what do you got for us here this week? Again, coming into week 17.
Yeah, like Mackie said earlier in the year, I mean, this NFL season just slipping through your fingers so quick, so you got to salvage it and don't take it for granted what we got in front of us. I know we might have some lighter games on the slate now with teams being out and whatnot, but still excited to dive into it. In the Christmas mood, great spirit, and got the New Year's coming up too, so ready to get rolling here.
Yes, sir. Mackie, you next. Your Cowboys there in the prime time on Saturday. What do you got for us here?
Yeah, couldn't get the win last week. Cowboys another big spot this week. Lost two straight, kind of out of contention for that NFC East division title now. But long road ahead. Like I've been saying it all season. This season's flying by. 2 weeks left in the regular season, so you really got to take it all in these last few weeks and then get ready for playoffs.
You know it. You keep saying it each and every week. You got to soak it in. You gotta live it while it's riding. Make sure to check out our live stream each and every Sunday morning on YouTube and Rumble. Top 5 games each and every week as we're, growing with that. So make sure you like and subscribe to that and check us out each and every Sunday. All right, with that, let's jump into the NFL. A couple things before we get into the power rankings and the Week 17 slate. The Denver Broncos have announced that they're benching Russell Wilson for the remainder 2 games of this season and starting Jarrett Stidham. The move comes as the Broncos are trying to avoid a $37 million guarantee on Wilson's contract for next season, where if he cannot pass a physical in early March, that they would owe him his full salary next season. What places do we see Russ landing with these contentions and all these things going on here in Denver? Who wants to get us rolling here? Huff, the Russ guy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised to see this. I don't know. I guess the rumor at the beginning of the season where Sean Payton was truly giving Russell Wilson one shot at this thing, and I guess didn't make too convincing of a case at it to run it back next year in Denver, and it's looking like they're going to want to move on. A couple spots that I saw people throwing spots around. Obviously, I'm not even just saying this. Steelers were up there, but the number one spot that I saw a lot of people saying would be a good fit for him would be Atlanta. And I do kind of see that get him back in the NFC. I think Atlanta in that kind of shitty, tough division, however you want to say it, they all can't compete, or they all compete with each other. I think that'd be a good spot for him to go to, get him back in the NFC, get him in a bad division where he can truly become himself again with a lot of weapons on offense. I'd like to see my boy go down south to Atlanta, if not come up to Pittsburgh. I'd love to see him as a Pittsburgh Steeler. That would be my full NFL circle or NFL childhood just come full circle. Russell Wilson is a Steeler, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think it's too realistic, but I think Atlanta is going to be the spot where we could see him go.
Huff, do you think Future's going to let him walk into the A? I mean, after all that disrespect between each other. I mean, you remember when they'd play the Falcons in the playoffs previous years, the other team blasting Future the whole game.
Yeah, but I think when you make like 37, what was it, 37 million they'd pay him? Like, I don't think Future's making that kind of money, so Russell can little brother him like that. And he has what's her name?
Yeah,
Kiara, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's got the crown jewel. But I think I'd like to keep him in the NFC South. Like you said, a lot of those teams need quarterbacks. I don't know how much longer Mackey's boy Derek Carr is on the books for, but I think that'd be a great spot. Imagine he went back to New Orleans and was successful there, kind of blew up in Sean Payton's face, honestly. But I think your Steelers, another team that could really use some strength at the quarterback position. They have the team around them to win a Super Bowl, so maybe Super Bowl caliber guy could get it done. But it'll be interesting to see as it unfolds. Denver Broncos not out of this thing either, only a game out of the playoffs. So
Yeah,
kinda
that's the
tough to
weirdest
see.
part.
Yeah,
They're just
Maybe
pulling
they
the
should have
plug.
sat
They're
him at the
pulling the
beginning of the
plug.
year,
They're pulling the
right?
plug. I
Like-
think that the thing going into the season where they literally said to Russ, they're like, "You make the playoffs this year, or we're done." Because he had a pretty good season, and he came back from a 1-5 record to make a push. Tough loss last week, kind of taking them out of contention. I mean, not mathematically, but I think they had a deal, and they just got to go their separate ways here. I think going to New Orleans would be the best case. I think they are the best team all around. Derek Carr hasn't been performing how he's supposed to. Not my boy, just better than Bryce Young. Remember that. But I think if he went to New Orleans, he could thrive there in a weak division with a team with a lot of players around him. I think that that could be a good fit for get him back in the playoffs at least.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm kind of excited to watch Jarrett Stidham play too. He was rolling the last time he got his chance. I think it might have been with the Raiders actually, though. Or was it against the Raiders? I'm not too sure, but he actually showed us some more than what I thought. I think he beat the San Francisco 49ers last year in the throwaway weeks, so to say. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Broncos not yet out, so maybe they can find a way to rally around Stidham.
I think they need a lot of help too. So it's like they're not mathematically out, but
Save that money. It's not Russell Wilson's not winning the Super Bowl himself. Spend it elsewhere.
Lots of good stuff there. Coming out of Denver, we'll definitely have to keep tabs on that one, see where Russ ends up, see what happens here coming into the end of the season. Next thing here, week 17 will have lots of playoff implications on the line in the AFC, as no AFC team has clinched their division yet. The Chiefs, Bills, Browns, and Jaguars can all clinch spots in the AFC picture while the Rams, Seahawks, and Bucks can clinch their way this weekend as well. What do you guys see this weekend coming out of it? I believe I have the sheet here of all the different scenarios and whatnot. What are we thinking here coming into this week here? Some of these key teams in the AFC getting their spot.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
I don't
teams
really
that
have.
could-
I
Depends
was
on how
gonna say,
much
I don't
math
really have
you're
much
doing
of
in
a
your head,
comment
Huff.
on this, but I wanted to see if as soon as you said you have the sheet, I want to hear what needs to happen for the Steelers to make the playoffs. I don't want it to happen, but I
lot.
just want to know what needs to happen.
So there's
It's
four
gonna
different
happen.
options.
Whatever needs to happen, it's gonna happen. So I don't
Well, it's
even know.
gonna get us. We're gonna get through this week. Whatever we need to happen this week is gonna happen, just so we're
It's
alive. in
all
week 18.
everything that needs to happen is going to happen for Mike Tomlin.
We
to get
need
into
to beat
the
the
playoffs.
Seahawks.
There's
That's
four different
definitely-
scenarios. The first option is Pittsburgh wins out and Buffalo loses a game. The
All right,
second option is Pittsburgh wins out and Jacksonville loses a game. Third option is Pittsburgh wins out and Cleveland loses out. Fourth option is Pittsburgh wins out, Colts lose a game, Houston lose a game.
So you have to go 10-7. You cannot go 9-8 and make the
Yeah.
playoffs. I think that's a tiebreaker thing because I'm pretty sure some teams. Because if the Broncos aren't mathematically out, the best they can go is 9-8 now.
Yeah.
That's a tall order when you got to go see the 12th man this weekend.
Yeah,
Oh,
like Tampa's in if they win a game.
Who do you got next week? And you got the Ravens next week. Yikes! But the Ravens might not need.
They
Ravens
might not
win
have
this
anything to
week.
play for. If they
Ravens
win
win
this
this
week, they
week,
might
they
lock
lock
up
I'll
that
get
one
into-
seed.
I'll get into that one right now. I think the Dolphins clinch up that division this week too. I think they take this one from the Ravens.
Disagree with you there. As we get into these games, I'll give my take.
Yeah, I know. I know you disagree.
Alrighty, let's keep it going here. Let's jump into our power rankings here for week 17. Those come as followed here. Number 5, the Detroit Lions. Number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles. 3, the Miami Dolphins. 2, the San Francisco 49ers. And number 1, the Baltimore Ravens. What are you guys thinking here about these week 17 power rankings coming out of this week?
Those Miami Dolphins are pretty good, huh?
Yeah,
they won the
we could
Fraud
talk about
Bowl,
that-
so I don't know
we
how
could talk
good they
about
are.
that game
Hoff.
a little. That was a good game by both teams.
It was
I
a
think
good game. I
both
just
teams-
couldn't wait to say that to you all day because we were going at it on Sunday. But
Nah,
yeah.
I can't defend much anymore. I mean, Dak Prescott played an incredible game, but at the end of the day, he lost again. He did not get the job done. And I mean, I love the guy, but I don't know how much I can keep defending him if he can't win the fucking football game. I mean, he didn't get the ball back, so he scored. He took a lead with 4.5 minutes left, 5 minutes left. Didn't get the ball back. Not all his fault, but you just keep losing. He keeps losing these games. So
The big games, the ones that matter.
Yeah, good game by the Dolphins. Tua played well. The difference maker is obviously number 10, Tyreek Hill. I mean, you couldn't stop him on third down every single time. He
I
was
was
just
gonna
like,
say it wasn't
holy
even
shit.
like huge chunk plays like it normally is with him. It was every 3rd and 8 he'd get 12 yards, or
Yep.
every 3rd
Third
and
and
12.
4, third and
Yeah,
4.
like
It was just like 5 yards.
I don't know.
You
I think
couldn't
he had
stop him.
8 catches or 9
They
catches.
have,
I bet 5 of them were on 3rd down.
they have
No,
to
that's
give
what I was
him.
gonna say. It was crazy. They kept him in the back pocket all game, and then when clutch time came, you found number 10 wide open.
They have to give him a 15-yard cushion, and he just gets 7 yards every time because he runs a little fucking hitch
He's
route.
5 steps ahead of you before you even think about
It's
it.
just impossible to guard him in those late game situations, and Dallas had no answer for him. Micah Parsons not getting any calls, but I'm not blaming the refs because, again, we just keep losing. So, but
Speaking
that was a
of
good game.
fraudulent
That was a
game
really good
managers,
game.
though, Mackie, you were talking about Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy showing his true colors. I guess I don't think they are. I think he will rebound from this, but really statement game by the Baltimore Ravens, putting themselves at that number 1 seed. No,
Huge defensive performance. That was just an incredible defensive performance.
only person that could stop Lamar Jackson in the Bay Area was that referee for that 2-point safety early on. But other than that, I mean, the Ravens are rolling, firing on all cylinders, overcoming injuries to names like Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, Keaton Mitchell. The list goes on and on. Lamar Jackson finding ways to get it done, really entrenching himself in that MVP conversation, in my opinion. Seeing the Chiefs lose, that's a tough one for this week for those power rankings. The Eagles picking up a much needed win that they almost let slip through their fingertips. So a lot of those teams up top, not playing their best football going into the postseason. So that's kind of something to monitor, in my opinion.
Who would be the team that you would add as the 5 seed if you bump the Lions? Mine would probably be Cleveland right now.
I was gonna put Cleveland in before the Lions actually, but then I was like, nah, you kind of got to respect these Lions right now. But definitely Cleveland.
Yeah,
Especially with Joe Flacco balling now. I mean, they didn't have a quarterback before, and they were still winning, so I was kind of overlooking them.
Mine would
Now
be
they have
the
a
Buffalo.
quarterback balling out.
Mine would be the Buffalo Bills.
I just feel like that wasn't his command. I mean, a win's a win. They needed a win. They got it, but I don't know. I feel like I wanted that to be a little bit more dominant. I guess
The problem with the Bills is that we saw how much they struggled early on, and then they went on a bit of a run. And then last game they beat the Chargers 24-22, and you're like, is that team still there? But I don't know. I don't trust.
I also
I'm going to stand by
like,
it. Team you don't want to see in the playoffs is the Buffalo Bills as a top seed in the AFC.
Yeah, I just think they're gonna be a wild card team.
I mean, if they could find a way to win that division.
No, I'm saying as a top seed in the AFC, you don't want to see the wild card being the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Nah,
Been preaching that all year. That's my dark horse coming out of the AFC.
I'd rather not. I'd rather see like. Let me see.
Minshew and the Colts.
I'd rather see. I will say, I'd rather see
the Texans,
the Browns on the as a home team. I'd rather see the Browns come in than the Bills, or the Bills come in than the Browns.
That's a toss up. Those are the two teams that I don't want to have any part of.
Well, I said it
AFC.
backwards. I'd rather
Wild
see the
card.
Bills on the road than the Browns coming in.
Yeah, the Bills on the road, obviously as a wild card, you don't have to play up in Buffalo. But other than those two, Cleveland and Buffalo, are any of these wild card bubble teams for real? I don't think so.
Dude, Jacksonville could lose their division this week.
That's crazy.
Jacksonville can miss the playoffs. That is crazy.
So many injury concerns going into these games too.
It's 8-3.
There could be that much of a shakeup in this playoff picture where Jacksonville's right now sitting as a 4 seed. They could be sitting on the outside looking in at the end of this week.
Yeah. And it wouldn't. Is Trevor Lawrence even playing? I think he's questionable.
It's like still questionable.
He always looks like he's never gonna play, and he has all season long though, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, but he's not even like playing that well.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I did that going into Cleveland. I did that when they went into Cleveland. I thought he was going to bounce back off that injury, come in and play a huge game, and he just didn't look like himself. And if he's going to keep doing that, I can't take the Jaguars. If he's going to play this like 50-50 injury,
I don't think he's been 100% all year, not even close.
I mean,
no, he's not playing like it at least.
But game manager Joe Flacco, elite Joe Flacco, really stepping into his own. Him and Amari Cooper, that's like a better connection than AC/DC out in Oakland a few years back. But he's really looking like he didn't come off his couch. Looks like he's prime Tom Brady right now almost. No, but that team is not something to mess with at all. I'm just hoping we can get a Cleveland-Baltimore AFC matchup in the playoffs. The media will go nuts for that one.
Lots of good stuff there, boys, out of the power rankings here coming into week 17. Let's start off with these games here. The first one being Thursday night. The Jets going to Cleveland to visit the Browns. The Browns, the favorite here, 7.5 points. Their money line minus 360. The total at 34.5. The trends I got here: Cleveland has won 7 straight Thursday home games, and 7 straight as the favorite as they host the New York Jets. The Jets are 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 games against Cleveland. So pretty interesting one there, 7.5 points. The question here, Ace, what are you thinking here coming into this Thursday night matchup?
Yeah, actually a pretty important matchup here this week on Thursday Night Football. I know you said almost every game is, with the playoff implications and everything being so tight, but I mean, it's a must-win game for the Browns here, in my opinion. They can keep pace for that top spot in the AFC North. Didn't think I'd be saying that with all the injuries they've gone through, but I mean, we've talked about Joe Flacco a lot lately. That defense, number 2 defense in the NFL, in my opinion. You could put them at 1 in the AFC or 1 in the NFL if you really want to argue it. But I think they're able to hem down those New York Jets. Looked like they were on a commanding win against the Commanders last week. Almost let that one fall through. But they clutched up. Brees Hall, big game. I don't think they're going to have the same type of success this week. I don't see them putting up more than 13 points here against the Browns. I like the Browns at home. Dog pound's going to be rocking. I might buy that half a point and take a -7, but I just like a Jets team total under here. And whoever the hell it is they put under center, he's going to throw an interception.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Jets really struggle on offense this week. They don't really get much going. Brees Hall coming off a 43-point fantasy performance. I think he's going to struggle against this Browns defense. Browns defense, like you said, could be top 2, top 1 in the league. This is probably the worst ranked offense in the league. So I'm going to go with the numbers here. I'm going to take the Browns -7.5. This Browns offense can really get going. I know the Jets have a really good defense, but you can't count out Amari Cooper and Joe Flacco right now. They're putting up points left and right. So the over-under sitting at 34.5, kind of sketchy, wouldn't touch it, but this is pretty safe for the Browns. I think they get it done, especially sitting at top spot in that wild card right now, and they want to keep pace in the AFC North. So big game for the Browns to get it done.
Yeah, I don't really have too much of an opinion on this game. Obviously, this doesn't really. I know the Browns are trying to fight for that division. They just need to win this game. A big spread. Obviously, the Jets. I think Saleh is just kind of coaching for his job at this point, if it's even a question that he's not already fired. But I don't know. Like you said, Jets looked good last week. They left the back door open for the Commanders and let them come back in that game. But I don't know. I'm probably not going to have a play on this game. I actually kind of leaned on the Jets plus the 7.5, but I'm probably not going to go ahead and take that in Cleveland. That just scares me a little too much.
Yeah, I'm riding with Mackie here. Buying that half a point for sure, though. I like that 7 round number much more than I like 7.5.
See if you can. It'll maybe drop down to 7.
I feel like maybe a first half spread for the Browns might be something to look into as well. Props kind of tough in this one unless you're really banking on Amari Cooper keeping up with success. I know that Jets defense, great secondary too, so kind of hard to take a prop there. But they share the rock between Hunt and Ford. The only one I could really look at, in my opinion, I know Cooper's going off, like I said, but Njoku, he's been really inserted himself well with Flacco under center.
Lots of good stuff out of our Thursday night football game here. Thursday night football game here in week 17. Let's jump on over to Saturday, 8 p.m. Lions and Cowboys in Dallas. Dallas the favorite here, just 6 points for them, -260 on the money line. Total at 53.5. Trends I got here: Cowboys 15-0 straight up, 12-3 against the spread in their last 15 games at home. Over 9-2 in Detroit's last. Over is 9-2 in Detroit's last 11 games versus NFC East teams. Cowboys 11-3 straight up in their last 14 at home against the Lions. Lions 19-6 against the spread in their last 25 games. Mackie, our Dallas correspondent, what are you thinking here in this primetime Saturday game? Only game on Saturday. What do you think?
Yeah, big game for the Cowboys to get back on track here after 2 straight losses, both on the road. Obviously, we know this team's a lot different at home. I think they're 7-0 at home this season. So I expect Dak to light it up. I think this offense gets going. CeeDee Lamb to have a big game. But this Lions team, I mean, you can't 6-point favorites over this Lions team is kind of crazy to me. I know they just clinched the division. These last 2 games don't mean much to them, but you got to think this is a big game for the Lions to know where they're at with this team and competitiveness. This is a good game for them to go in and as 6-point underdogs and win this football game. So they're going to be hungry. They're going to come out and play. If that offense gets going, they could be scary. 53.5 is the over under. That's the highest this season. If it finishes, or if it is 53.5 at game time. I think there's going to be a lot of points. It's just a really high over under, so I would stay away from it. But I'm going to go with Dallas -6 just because it's just going to go with my gut here. But this is definitely a sketchy one. Too high of a spread for a lot of people.
Mackie, stop sounding so illy confident. Cowboys -6, hammer it. The game's in AT&T Stadium. What do they do there? They roll whoever comes on in. They don't have many more opportunities to do this. They're going to be road dogs in the playoffs, and they're probably not going to win a game, but we'll worry about that when we get there. This week, they're going to put up 30 plus. Jared Goff going to be turning the ball over left and right. We've seen him throw interceptions against worse teams. I think they're going to have a tough day sledding, honestly, with Montgomery and Gibbs. I know they've looked electric, dynamic duo out there in Detroit, but 6 points is pretty generous for this team. We see what the Cowboys do at home. Feel confident in the team total. I don't feel anything great about that Detroit Lions defense. Maybe that's my favorite play is the Cowboys to put up a boatload of numbers over 30 plus. I think maybe you get even an alternate line somehow. Probably sitting at 27.5, honestly. But yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb keeps the good times rolling. Dak Prescott gets back to his winning ways. Much lighter matchup. Home stadium. Give me the Cowboys here. Lock that in. -6, 6.5.
I mean, if Tyron Smith is healthy, though, I mean, did you see that offensive line? Did you see the left tackle? He was invisible. He would just let people go right by him. Dak had no time to throw the ball half the time because there was 3 guys on him before he can even pick his head up. I mean, a healthy O-line for this Cowboys team is definitely key. When you have Aiden Hutchinson on the other side of that football, it could be tough. But I mean, they are home. They put up numbers at home. They put up crazy numbers at home. This Dallas team is still pretty good. I think they get back on track here.
Yeah, this is definitely a scary spread because, like you said, it's tempting enough that obviously I can talk myself at least into liking the Lions here plus the 6 points, but I don't know if it's enough to bet it because I can also see exactly what you guys saw going the other way, where Dallas can win this game, let it get out of hand. Dallas could stop the run, and Gibbs and Montgomery could have a pretty tough day, but. Yeah, I also agree. I don't think Detroit's defense is going to have too good of a day stopping them down in Dallas and in AT&T Stadium, but I think it's a lot of points. The 53.5, it's that high for a reason. I kind of lean the over. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout, and I like there to be points.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is obviously there's a lot of implications going on for seeding, playoffs, whatnot. But this game to me is a telltale sign of how Jared Goff is going to perform in the playoffs. He has to go in a very hostile environment. He might get 1 home game right with the Lions, maybe 2, maybe. But it's a hostile environment down there in Dallas. Whoever he handles this is going to make me consider how I handle him down the stretch. We only saw him get that 1 playoff run on a great Rams team with a great defense. Kind of a different build up here for a young Lions team that hasn't been there. So show me what you got, Goff. Tough matchup, tough defense. This is
And
going to be tough.
and what if the Lions win this game with what you just said? What is that?
I respect them a lot more, and I give them some credit. Maybe they can take out the Cowboys or
But
Eagles later
the
in
Cowboys
the
are
postseason.
frauds. So if they win this game, how can you really respect them?
The Cowboys at home in the regular season are great. They're earth shattering.
Yeah,
in the
see, I
regular
also
season.
I also think that's a big if. Is beating them in
Everyone's-
Dallas is a lot different.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, everyone's calling them frauds. You can't respect the Lions more for beating a fraudulent team.
No, but it's the home Cowboys. That's not the fraudulent Cowboys. The fraudulent Cowboys are postseason or on the road.
So those are 8 sweet spot games a year.
Yeah, 8
It's
sweet
a
spots. And it's
lot.
true. I mean,
A
look
lot.
at the schedule. When they play at
A
home,
lot of
they
fraudulent.
are groundbreakers. They put up 30 plus every time. It's a shame that team doesn't get a home playoff game this year, in my opinion. I think the Eagles went out and grab that 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean the Eagles' schedule. I mean they got through the tough part earlier in the season, but the rest of their season is a cakewalk. They should have no problem, especially after already playing the Giants pretty close. I think next game's probably going to be a 30-point game.
Your boy CeeDee Lamb, 88 out there in Dallas. He getting in the end zone again this week?
Yeah, he'll dabble. Maybe even 2 this week. Only got in once last week, so look for him to have a big game.
I'm excited to see how many of us actually have that on our card. Hopefully it's still at plus money. I feel like it definitely won't be.
He's a dog, man.
Another great Saturday night game, though. Hopefully a shootout, like Huff said. 2 great teams bound for playoffs. Let's see who comes out on top.
Lots of good stuff out of our Saturday matchup here this week. Let's jump into our Sunday matchups. 1 o'clock slate to start. The Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. The Ravens, the favorite here. 3.5 points for them. -168 on the money line. +142 for the Dolphins money line. 46.5 is the total. Trends I got here. Dolphins 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 games against Baltimore, 2-9 straight up in their last 11 games in Week 17. Dolphins 13-5 against the spread in their last 18 games, and the Ravens 12-5 against the spread in their last 17 games. What are you guys thinking here coming into this matchup? Just good trends for both teams here. 1 o'clock matchup. What do we think?
Yeah, I'll start us out here. I like the Dolphins. I'm going to just keep riding them. They've been very good to me this season. I'm going to take the 3.5 points for them to cover the spread. They can lose by the field goal. I also like there to be a lot of points in this one as well. 46.5 points. I'm going to take the over. I like the Dolphins to come into Baltimore, put up a big offensive fight. Like I said, excuse me. I think even if they do lose the game, they keep it tight within 3.5. Give me the Dolphins. Fins up in the over. I'm going to keep riding this team.
Huff, I'm right there with you. I love this Dolphins team. This Ravens team coming off beating the best team in the league, the best defense in the league, kind of lighting them up. Everyone's going to be on them. You're going to see everyone's through the roof. After an overwhelming performance, you're going to see an underwhelming one. And I think if Miami keeps this close, I think they're going to win the game. I don't see a lot of value in the 3.5, to be honest, because honestly, the Ravens are probably the better team at the end of the day. Could be a 14-point game, but I'm going to go with Miami here. I think Tua has a big game. I think Tyreek Hill dictates yet another game. I mean, I know I go against the Ravens a lot this year, and it hasn't worked out for me. But I just think this is one of those games where Miami finds a way to get it done on the road. I know it's going to be tough, but yeah, give me Miami.
Yeah, I have a lot of takes on this game. Last week, sorry to all the Ravens listeners, Big Hoss especially, doubted those Ravens. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, though. I've been so high on these Niners, so high on these Ravens. It's like, fuck. So I didn't even take a side in that one. Just had that McCaffrey tutty. But they looked great again last week. If this was an NFC North opponent or any NFC opponent, we'd all be hammering the lock because we know that they own those teams. But at home at the M&T Bank Stadium, they don't lose very much. That defense plays elite, very tough place to play. If this was a night game, don't think that Tua puts up any points. With it being a 1 o'clock game, I do think that there is some points. Huff, that's a low total there too. Two good offenses. They'll be able to get it done. I think I could see like a 27-24 victory. I already locked in the Ravens -3, got it -3, -110. You will see that on my card this week. I mean, how can we not respect this Ravens team? They've taken out everybody. Whoever you want to throw up there in questions, they've beaten them. Lamar Jackson playing at the top of his game. That defense playing lights out. Number 3 defense in the league, in my opinion. After the Niners and the Browns. I mean, you could put them ahead of the Niners since they just beat them, but still. I think that the Ravens are able to get it done. My halfway season prediction of the Ravens finishing the regular season with the best record in the AFC is looking to come true. Maybe they even have the best record in the NFL. I don't think there's any reason that the Dolphins can come in here and take over their home field advantage. I don't see it happening. And I really think a pivotal matchup is going to be set up for Week 18 between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins after the Ravens win this week. Give me the Ravens -3. Could be a tough one, but that defense, I'm trusting them. Lamar, I'm trusting them. Big Truz. Ravens got this one this week.
I can promise Mostert will score, Gus Edwards will score, Tyreek Hill will score. Those 3 guys will score. There's gonna be a lot of
I like that. I like the running back one. Mostert and Edwards. How automatic are those guys? Jeez.
I can promise that. I might take that.
Yeah, without Tyreek Hill scoring last week, he's bound to get in. But I don't know. It's a tough one. That Ravens defense is really stout. And Mostert, I mean, he's automatic, so I'm not second guessing it. I know that run defense is tough. I know Roquan Smith is rovering the field. Shout out Kyle Hamilton, too. That guy really jumped onto the scene this year. He's on his way to a Pro Bowl. Great pick by the Ravens in a later first round a couple years ago. But this will be on everybody's screen at 1 o'clock. This is going to be the game of the week, potentially, in my opinion. But yeah, Ravens find a way to come out on top, cover that spread.
Keeping it moving here in the 1 o'clock slate. The New England Patriots heading to Buffalo to visit the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, the favorite here, 13.5 points for them, -900 on the money line. 40.5 is the total. Only trend I got here. The total has gone under in Buffalo's last 5 games at home. So a very interesting one there. Ace, what are you thinking here? How are your Patriots going to fare here this week against the Bills?
Yeah, I don't even know how they won last week. Bailey Zapp, not a big fan of him, but he's getting the job done. Kudos to them for duking it out. Ezekiel Elliott, that guy's going to have a big game once again with that banged up Buffalo defense. But the Buffalo Bills are at home. The Patriots always split with them, and they've already beat them once this year. I think it's a lock on the money line. That's why it's so fat. It's sitting in a -13 spread. If you somehow are still in a survival pool, you can lock this one in. I think the Bills get it done here. That might be tough to cover the 13 the way the Patriots defense is playing this year. They've been elite. I mean, all year long. It's just the offense that can't get going. But Josh Allen's going to have his way. They're getting back to the postseason. They're going to push for that division. I like them here this week to get it done. Maybe a team total over for the Bills this week, but still, it's tough with the Patriots defense. Don't know if I'll have a play on this one, but I like the Bills to get the job done at home this week.
Yeah, pretty plain and simple in this one. Bills at home. They're gonna roll this Patriots team. Big win for the Patriots. Actually, not big win, but good win for the Patriots last week. Probably actually not a good win in terms of draft position
Drafts,
because
yeah.
I don't know if that really matters that much. I didn't really look into it, but they're definitely not trying to win games right now. But big game by Billy Zappi. I think they just kind of get steamrolled this game. James Cook to have a huge game. Josh Allen, big game again. Just take over this game in the first half. Bills need wins. They're going to take care of business on home field against one of the worst teams in the league.
One thing I would
kind
like
of
to say about this Patriots team, Huff. Sorry to cut you off before you jump in,
yeah, you're
but
good.
I heard this quote from someone the other day. I was like, huh, that's a good point with this Patriots team. I'm happy they weren't tanking, though. I'm happy they went out and won that game because once you start tanking, it's kind of like the Philadelphia 76ers. You get in that mentality of losing, and it's hard to get back to your winning ways. So shout out to the boys for still grinding through. Christian Barmer turning into a leader and a stud on the defensive line, set up for a big payday, along with other guys like Kyle Duggar and whatnot. Don't think Zappy's the answer, but definitely got himself a career in the NFL, maybe as a backup or whatnot, maybe as a starter somewhere too. But yeah, I think the
Who
Bills get this one done. Wouldn't be surprised though if the Bills have to backdoor win this game, kind of like they did last week against Easton Stick and the Chargers.
who do you want in the draft? You guys are definitely taking a quarterback. There's no way you don't.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you know what's crazy? Nobody in Rhode Island, at least that I talk to, is high on a quarterback at all. I mean, everybody's like, that's not the guy. You need to draft a receiver. You need to help out the old line. People are like, we want to
I'd
trade
take
down.
Jaden Daniels. That's who I'd
Yeah,
take.
yeah, I don't know. He's flew up the draft boards very much lately. I'm not super
I love
thrilled with
Jaden
him.
Daniels. I
Yeah,
love
but he
him.
wasn't high up there before. I mean, it was Drake May and Caleb Williams.
Huff,
Drake May and
The
Caleb
Heisman
Huff,
Williams.
always inflates people.
Huff. I said it
Yeah,
before the season starts. That's why I took LSU week one. I didn't realize their defense was a fucking high school
Yeah,
defense,
their defense is so bad.
but I told you week one that I love him.
hmm
there's
That's
a
how I
reason he
felt
goes.
about Jordan Travis. I like Jaden Daniels a lot though. That's who a dream scenario if the Steelers could draft him late in the first round or mid whenever they have to do it. I'd love them to do it.
Yeah, but Huff, what do you think about this Bills Patriots game? You think it'll be kind of close, like I'm saying, or you think they can stomp them, like Mackey said?
See, I don't know. It's scaring me how many overs I like this week. I like this over a lot, 40.5 points. I think that obviously we've seen the Patriots put up some points in the past couple of weeks. The Bills defense isn't necessarily world beaters. I do think the Bills win the game. I don't love a 13-point spread. It's at home in Bills Mafia. They're gonna be hearing that the touchdown song a whole lot up there. I think the Bills score a lot, but I like the Patriots to put up maybe 14 to 17 points, and I think the Bills can handle the rest. So I like the over 40.5 here.
Yeah, I think this one could be kind of interesting. I could see. I
If
don't know
it's
why. I
raining,
could see it being similar to the Chargers game somehow. Like the Bills are going to win the whole time, but it takes them forever to get it done.
yeah, it could get a slow start. I don't know if it's raining. We could definitely see a slow game, but you could see another huge game from James Cook, like you saw against Dallas. But that changes a
Props
lot
though.
for sure up
Feed
there.
Zeke. Guy gets in. Guy gets the carries every week. I mean, he's getting the ball a lot, and he looks good with it. I hope they bring him back.
Good stuff there out of that 1:00 matchup here. The next one we have is the Atlanta Falcons and the Chicago Bears. In Chicago, they're the favorite, -3 for the Bears, -158 on the money line, 37.5 is the total. Trends I got here, the total has gone under in 9 out of Atlanta's last 11 games on the road, as well as under in 4 out of Atlanta's last 5 games overall. Chicago 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games at home against Atlanta. So a pretty interesting trend there between the clubs under and will Chicago cover this spread here against Atlanta? Who wants to get us rolling here on this 1:00 matchup?
Kind of a toilet bowl game with playoff implications, which is crazy to me. Um, I don't know what side I really lean. I guess I did my pick 'em this week. I like the Falcons. I guess people are high on the Bears, though they're playing decent football as of late. That defense kind of coming together with some of those superstars. But I think the Falcons keep themselves in the conversation. I think the Bears can get eliminated this week if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they get knocked out of contention here by the Atlanta Falcons. Too much trending up for them. I know it's in Chicago this week, right?
Yeah, see, I kind of on the other side. I like the Bears here to cover the
I
number here.
love
I think
Chicago. I
I
love
think the
Chicago
Bears
this
get the
week.
job done with the playoffs on the line, like you said. They know this is a must-win game. Justin Fields, I think he really wants to stay there, and he's giving them every reason to, trying to win all these
Mackey's
games.
boy,
So,
Justin Fields.
His feet, man.
I mean,
He tears up defenses on his feet. It's crazy.
Mackie, remember
Yeah,
when you
I
said
like
he
the-
shouldn't even be an NFL quarterback?
Well, he's a running back, yeah.
I like the Bears in the
Lamar.
under. I just want to get that off. I like the Bears in the under. I don't think the Falcons do too much. I think the Bears, number 2 rushing defense in the NFL, I think they stop that Falcons rush-heavy offense. I think Drake London could have a good day, but I don't think you're going to expect much out of Bijan Robinson. I like the Bears in the under.
Ace, you
Under
could
for
still make
sure,
an
love that.
argument that Justin Fields shouldn't be a starter in the NFL, by the way. But
In today's NFL? In today's
I'd
NFL?
dude, I mean,
Mackie, you'll like this. I just got Madden 24 last night. First thing I did was start a franchise with the Steelers, and I traded Pickett and a first-round pick to the Bears for Justin Fields.
that's awesome. You definitely do that in real life too. But
Oh, dude, I take
A
that
lot
deal
of people
right
would,
now.
Mackie. A lot of people
Right
would take
now,
Justin
I'd take that
Fields.
deal.
okay. Yeah, maybe in today's NFL, where more than literally half the teams don't have a starting
Especially with a
quarterback
coach
right
like
now.
Tomlin. Tomlin would make him actually pretty good, I think.
He's young, he's dynamic, and he hasn't even played his best football in the league yet.
He is maturing a lot more too. I like his game a lot more than I used to. That was a 2-year-old take, Ace. Remember that. Don't act like that was.
You said he was
yesterday.
going to be out of the league by the time we got to this episode today.
Well, the quarterback position has greatly decreased since then. But yeah,
But
I
he's
told you. I
gotten
said it
better,
last year.
too.
I said it last year. He proved me wrong for sure. I like the Bears here. I think Bears are playing pretty good football. They play good football at home. Falcons, we know how they play on the road, 2-6.
Yeah,
It's
road
the same thing
Falcons.
keeps happening. I mean, you got to follow these trends here. I think that Justin Fields has a field day, no pun intended, on his feet. I think he runs all over this defense.
Ha.
I think he's going to need to. But thanks for the cheap laugh there, Ace. I think the Bears win this game. I think they stay in the win column. They're out of the. I'm pretty sure they're mathematically eliminated.
No, they're not. I don't think
They have 9 losses. They're not going to make the playoffs at 8 and 9.
You could in the NFC.
I don't think so. Well, regardless, even if they win out, they need a lot to happen. I think
Yeah.
that they just win this football game because it's basically meaningless for them. And Justin Fields stays around for another year.
You think
I
if
think
the
the
Falcons
Bears-
lose this game, does that guarantee that their head coach is gone after the season?
I think if they went to the Super Bowl, you still got to get rid of fucking Arthur Smith. He might be worse than McCarthy.
Atlanta does have some options to get in.
No,
I
he's saying
think-
Chicago.
Oh, I'm sorry. Same with them.
Well,
Yeah, but
let's
they-
hear it for Chicago. How many
They
teams?
they definitely need like a lot of help.
They have
Like,
two
their percent's
options.
got to be less than 10, I'd say.
The first one is
Wait,
they have to-
wait. Before you read them off, the either one need more than 4 things to happen.
both of them.
Dude, they have
Go
9
ahead.
losses. They have
I
9
love-
losses.
I love these scenarios. Go
Can I
ahead.
read it for fun? Yeah. First one, Chicago has to win out. Rams lose out. Seahawks lose out. New Orleans loses a game, and Green Bay loses this week.
So
That
they
can
need
happen.
all of that to
That
happen,
can fucking happen.
not like or.
It's not happening, huh?
Yeah, it's all that has to
Who do the
happen.
Rams play this
No.
week?
The
I'm
Rams-
blanking.
The
The Rams
Seahawks
play
are
two-
ending the Steelers and the Bears' dreams this week. I'm sorry to tell you.
Dude, the Rams play like the Panthers or something like that. Like it's not happening.
Bryce Young, Bryce Young, don't
Rams-
count him out.
dude.
Don't count him out.
And it's loses out. It's not even like, loses just this week. It's
Rams-
They've got to do it twice. Yeah.
right.
Rams play Giants and 49ers. They could lose that 49er game, but
And then the other option is Chicago wins out, Rams lose out, Seattle loses out, New Orleans loses a game, and Minnesota loses out.
My
It's
favorite
not
play in this
happening,
game is the under,
regardless.
though.
Regardless.
It's gonna take one of those games will not happen, and it's gonna. Fall
Well,
everything.
they also have to win out, and they can easily lose any game that they play in. So
Hey, one
Yeah,
more
but
shout
I
I
really
want to
thought-
give to the Bears real quick is just Khalil Herbert really reinserting himself as the RB1 in that offense. He exploded last week for 120 plus in the tutty.
Come on.
yeah, he's been playing well, especially when you have the run threat at the quarterback positions as well. It always increases your running back. Look at Gus Edwards with Lamar.
I do think this will be a boring game. I don't think many people have it on their TV. Excited to get into the next one here.
Huff, what were you saying before? What were you freaking out about?
I have Magic first quarter -0.5, and they're up by 1 right now, and they just took an offensive fucking foul with 32 seconds left. And
-0.5.
Yeah.
Tell me you're on a sports betting podcast without telling me. I've got the Magic first quarter -0.5.
What made you take that? Why do that?
They're good at home.
Fast money.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I
Alrighty.
watched the first quarter of an NBA game. Maybe Christmas, Lakers Celtics, but
All right,
that's
we just need
beside the
points.
point. Get
No
to the next
shot
one.
clock, just need points. They're down 1.
Alrighty, rolling into this next 1 o'clock matchup here. The Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. Texans at home are the favorite here. 4.5 points for them, minus 230 on the money line. Total at 42.5. Trends I got here. Total's gone under in 4 out of Tennessee's last 5 games when playing Houston. And Houston is 5-1 against the spread in its last 6 games when playing Tennessee. Mac, you want to get us started on this matchup here? 1 o'clock in Houston.
Yeah, this could be a trap line. It is a sketchy line, but Houston will get the job done this week. Um, I know. I know Derrick Henry runs all over this Texans team weekend or year in year out. Every week or every time he plays them, he puts up 100+ scrimmage yards at least. I think he does have a big game, but the Texans are going to get the job done here. They're tied for that AFC South lead right now. Them, the Colts, and the Jaguars, all sitting at 8-7. They know they need to win out to have a chance. They know they need to, this is a huge game. I know it's a divisional game. I think CJ Stroud gets it done. It is CJ Stroud, right? Questionable concussion.
I believe it is. He missed
huge.
last week, but he should
Yeah.
be good to go, right?
So I think if he plays, they get it done. They're the better team in my opinion, but 5 points sketchy here. This is such a game where the Titans lose by 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
I would say
It's a better money line parlay piece.
I think I was just gonna say that perfect, or you want to tease it down or something. I think I don't see a scenario where they lose this football game.
Especially with so many starters out on that Tennessee side of the football. I don't see where they really get things done. I honestly like Ryan Tannehill more than the other options they have at the helm. But yeah, with the injuries going down on the other side of the ball, Texans will get some offensive prowess back with Stroud in the mix. I think they put up enough points to win this game, keep themselves in that playoff race, divisional race. Big year by CJ Stroud. Hopefully he can bounce back from that injury here this week.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I like the Texans here. I kind of like them to cover the number too at home. Pick up a big divisional win, like you said, much needed. They're in that race for that division lead. They could get a home playoff game with CJ Stroud coming back this week if they win. Obviously, need a Jaguars loss. Looking like Trevor Lawrence may not play, so I'm big on the Texans this week. This is one D'Amico Ryans is going to have the boys ready to play.
That is insane to think about, the Texans coming in and winning this division after the year that the Jags just had, everything going into the hype with the Jaguars. They're just starting this dynasty, and then you have CJ Stroud come in and take a 2-14 team last year to the playoffs and win the division.
I remember before the season we were doing our NFL futures episode. I think every single one of us said the Jaguars, the Niners, and the Chiefs are all locks to win their division.
Yeah, because who saw this coming? I thought the Jags are going to win 12, 13 games.
Yeah, so who saw the whole division coming? But CJ Stroud, phenom. Get him back in the game, and they're winning, and they get into the playoffs. Maybe stealing that 7 seed, maybe stealing the South. I don't know. We'll see.
Keeping it moving here through the 1 o'clock. Raiders and Colts in Indianapolis here. The Colts are the favorite here, 3.5 points for them, minus 180 on the money line. Raiders money line at plus 152. The total at 43.5. The trends I got here. The total's gone over in 5 out of Vegas's last 6 games against Indianapolis. The total has also gone over in 7 out of Indianapolis' last 8 games at home. In Vegas, 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games on the road against Indianapolis. Ace, why don't you get us rolling here in this 1 o'clock matchup here in Indianapolis?
I'll tell you what, I'm probably the only one who thinks this, but I think the Las Vegas Raiders go in to Lucas Oil Stadium. Yep, I remember that one correctly. I think they go in there and get the win this week. They're not mathematically eliminated yet either. They could even win their division if things go completely awry for the Kansas City Chiefs. But coming off of a huge win, they've been playing good football. That defense has turned it around. I mean, I've seen 2 good performances now from them of late. We saw them beat the Knox Staley out. We saw them with that 3-0 game against the Vikings that they were on the wrong side of. And we saw last week's performance against Patrick Mahomes. They had 2 touchdowns, defensive touchdowns. That defense that was once slept on got a big resurgence with Jack Jones, 2 guns from the Patriots going over there, getting 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. I think Max Crosby has him fired up. I think it's a low-scoring game here this week. Jesse's trend of the overs kind of scared me away from taking that under. But I do think that the Raiders take this one and the under. Not going to have to get much passes from Aiden O'Connell. Great win on Christmas Day. Threw the ball, I think, only in the first half. So, I mean, it's not going to take too much. Maybe they get Josh Jacobs back as well, though Zamir White looked great. But I got the Raiders here as upsetting the Colts here and taking them out of that AFC South divisional contention. Huff, let me know what you think on this one.
I agree completely. I love the Raiders in this spot. I'm gonna take the number though. I'm gonna take the +3.5. Given a +3.5, I agree. I think they win the game. But the Colts, they've been pesky all year. Minshew's done his thing. Colts at home. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if they win a close one here. I'm gonna take the Raiders plus the 3.5. I really like this one, honestly. This is one of my favorite games of the week.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the other. I think I'm on the other side here. I don't love either side. I think this Raiders team is pesky and they can find ways to win games. We've seen it 2 weeks in a row, 63 points 2 weeks ago, and then a big win last week against the Chiefs. But I like this Colts team, and I like Gardner Minshew. I think he had a tough week last week against a good defense, but he's going to light up this defense. I think Max Crosby might get his few sacks, but I expect Gardner Minshew to have a pretty big game against this defense and cover the 3.5 points at home. At least defend home field advantage. They're still in the running for the division. All three of them tied at 8-7 in that AFC South. So I think they know what's at stake here, and I think they can get the job done. This Raiders team is not a playoff team, so I just think that they prove that this week.
You said that about the Raiders. I'm saying that about the Colts. I know that they've been grinding through it all year. Minshew, backups, yada yada. I think they finish the year 8-9 and find themselves on the outside looking in.
They definitely could finish 8-9. I think that I don't think that would be a fluke if they made the playoffs. I think they've been playing pretty good football. Last week was a bad week, but before that, I mean, Gardner Minshew looks like a real quarterback out there. He looks comfortable. He's making good throws, kind of being wild with the football and to make good plays, and it's working out in his favor. So, I don't know. I wouldn't count that team out.
I like Minshew. I'm a member of Minshew Mania, so I definitely believe in him. I just like the Raiders.
Mania.
Raiders, dude, you watch the Raiders games, they're like my brother-in-law said this, and he's like, it was so true when I started like actually watching the game. Since like you start putting things together, it's like how everyone calls Tomlin a player's coach, and like the players love him, all that stuff. Dude, you watch a Raiders game right now, they fucking love Antonio Pierce as their head coach. Like they look like a whole different team since he's become the head coach. I know they lost that one game, but I mean, you shit wiped the Chargers. That was pretty impressive being the Raiders, in my opinion,
Yeah,
especially in the prime time. But then you
put up
beat
63
the
points.
Chiefs in Kansas City on Christmas Day. I think this team looks a little differently. I'm not saying they're going to get in. I just think they do get a win this week, but I'm going to take the number. I like the Raiders.
Lots of good stuff there. This game caught my eye. I'm definitely on the Raiders here in this matchup after their game last week. Moving forward here,
I was so pissed I faded them, dude.
what's going on, everybody? Jesse from Hit the Books here. I want to tell you a little bit about Zencastr. We use Zencastr because it's the best solution for us to record our episodes each week with 4 of us in different locations. Coordination is hard, and Zencastr makes that easy. Like I said, it's so easy. It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Just log in with your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Zencastr is an all-in-one platform. If you've thought about podcasting before and realized that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. Zencastr is all-in-one podcasting platform. You can create a podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other major destinations. If you're interested, go to Zencastr.com/pricing and use our code HITTHEBOOKS, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same experience, easy experience we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Make sure to use our link in the description below or our offer code HITTHEBOOKS at Zencastr.com/pricing for 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. Moving forward here, the Los Angeles Rams and the New York Giants here in New York. The Rams are the favorite here on the road. 5.5 for them, -255 on the money line. 44.5 is the total. No trends from me here in this matchup. Who wants to get going here? Another 1 o'clock matchup here in Week 17.
See, this interesting spot. The time difference coming over for the Rams. Obviously, it's like a 10 a.m. game for the Rams local time. So I don't know. I think that's very weird. They don't usually do that to the West Coast teams, but getting a 1 o'clock spot in where's this game at? MetLife. Forgot who they were playing. I almost said the Jets, but I guess it's the same stadium. So I kind of like the Giants to cover the number here. I just think they benched DeVito last week, so you don't know really who they're going with. I think they're going to go.
Tyrod.
Are they going with Tyrod? I really don't hate
Tyrod
that.
Taylor, the biggest
I think
spoiler in the world.
it's the same thing in my opinion. Either way, I would rather them go with DeVito personally, but I like the Giants cover the number here at home. I think the road situation for the Rams isn't going to be as friendly for them. I know they need to win this game bad to make the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to get it done. I like the Giants in this spot.
I like the Rams here. I think it's a tough number though. I think it's 5.5. That's a scary number. I think
Giants could lose by 4.
yeah, definitely. I think the Rams and a Texans money line parlay is the way to go here. I said it earlier. I don't think the Texans find a way to lose that game, but it's a scary number sitting at 5. So I like them both money line in a parlay. I think that you could probably get pretty decent odds on that, at least like plus maybe 120, something like that. But yeah, I think the Rams, they play the Niners next week, and this is a huge spot for them. I think they know what they need to do this week. The Giants are not in contention for playoffs. Rams get it done this week in a must-win scenario. I think Matt Stafford just does enough against this Giants defense. They're not going to be able to know how to shut him down with Cooper Kupp, Nakua. Kyron Williams is going to run all over this defense, I think, at least for 1 touchdown, probably 2. Give me the Rams in at least money line in this one.
The Rams win this game. The Rams are a good team. The Rams get to the playoffs. And I think this week is a huge part of it. I think Tyrod Taylor can keep games close. Kind of makes me a little bit more weary than Tommy DeVito. Wasn't too high on him. I think the Giants team played up to the Eagle competition, but this is a whole different beast. I think the Rams are firing on all cylinders. Puka and Cooper Kupp look great. I mean, the two of them together and healthy is insane. Kyron Williams, one of the top running backs in the league. His legs are churning and they're on fire. Keep it going. McVay finds a way to get enough points up on the board. I don't think the Giants put up more than 2 touchdowns this week. So Rams are going to put up nearly 30. So I think they can cover the spread as well. Yeah, give me the Rams here on the road at the shitty MetLife Stadium. Hopefully none of those guys go down with a tough injury on that turf.
Lots of good stuff there. I know it's early here in the week, but FanDuel is reporting 99% of the money on the Rams spread here already.
I believe it, though. I
99.
mean, why wouldn't there be?
Nah,
Right.
it's too early.
It is early, but it's crazy to see like that far of a swing. You see 80s and 70s, but 99. Like I don't even know if they'd let it get to 100. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing for this next game here. The San Francisco 49ers heading to Washington to visit the Commanders here. 12.5 points for the 49ers, minus 720 on the money line, total 49.5, 99% of the money on San Francisco 49ers spread here. Trends I got: 49ers 6-1 straight up in their last 7. Total's gone over in San Francisco's last 4 out of San Francisco's last 5 games, over in 5 out of the last 6 Commanders games. What are you guys thinking here? 49.5 is the total, 12.5 the spread. Ace, get us started here. This 1 o'clock matchup.
Yeah, I just want to ask the boys here. Do you think any of these problems are going to arise that were in that Ravens game last week? Or do you think it was just that Ravens defense, like marquee game that kind of got to Brock Purdy? Or do you think there's going to be something struggling down the stretch? Because they looked unbeatable coming out of their bye up until then.
Yeah, it wasn't just him. I mean, he didn't have the best game ever. 4 interceptions, a few tip balls, could have went either way, but he definitely struggled a little. He didn't look as confident with the football. This is a good chance for him to just get back to the basics. He's lucky he has a game like this to bounce back on. Because a young quarterback like him, you see him lose a rhythm, and it might be tough for him to get back into it. Luckily, he gets to go against probably the worst defense in the league right this week, and he gets to light it up again and get back on track. And this Niners team should be good to go. But if they were playing if they were playing the Browns this week or something, I think they would have he would have a really tough game. They'd have some really real worries there because you don't really want to bring in Sam Darnold. But I think he gets back on track here. I think the Niners roll too high of a spread for me to play it, but Niners should cover this.
I could see a CMC 2+ here. I think he rolls against that weak defense.
Rolling. But
Yeah.
2+.
Yeah, this is just too big of a spread for me to bet, especially the cross country. Niners love to take these kind of like weaker games. They love to start slow in these games that we saw it against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago. I think they came back and covered that spread as well. But yeah, definitely a game. The Niners. This is just get right, shit on your opponent. They should win this game 40 to whatever. You know what I mean? They just got to put up points in this game.
But what do you do if Brock Purdy goes out there and struggles to put up points against this Washington defense?
I think it's too late in the season to flip the switch, right?
And he was talking about MVP 2 weeks ago. What are you gonna
Yeah.
turn to Sam Darnold last second? But that would just prove that would just prove right there, like, check down, system quarterback, like, he's not doing all this. It's that team, it's Kyle Shanahan. But, I don't I think this week proved why Christian McCaffrey can't win MVP. Look at the game he just had, and they still got beat by 2 touchdowns. A running back's just not valuable enough, in my opinion. But Tyreek Hill, you look at a game like he just had, I think he won that football game. I'm not
The
kidding. I
quarterback
think he did.
award. I think it's the Lamar Jackson award this year, but we'll see. A lot of the season still left. Him and Tua have strange numbers. Sorry to get off on a tangent here, but
There
this
you go.
MVP race is going to come down the stretch. I'm telling you.
Next game up here, the Carolina Panthers heading to Jacksonville to visit the Jaguars. The Jaguars, the favorite here at home, 6.5 points for them, minus 290 on the money line total at an even 38. Carolina is 4-1 straight up in its last 5 games when playing Jacksonville. Total's gone under in 7 out of Carolina's last 9 games, as well as under in 15 out of Jacksonville's last 23 games at home. What are we thinking here out of this matchup? Puff, get us moving here. What are you thinking? Trevor Lawrence, is he questionable still?
Yeah, he's questionable in this game. I'm gonna go ahead and jump out here and take the Panthers. I like the Panthers plus the points. Bryce Young, truly, Mackie, I'm not even doing this just to be an asshole. I truly think he is starting to get better over these past couple weeks. You saw what he did in that Packers game: 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, a big game for him. I know they couldn't get down the field and they ran out of time and couldn't kick that field goal to force the overtime, but I think they do get this a good spot for them to come in on an away game in Jacksonville, not too far of a road trip. You get the 6.5 points. I like the Panthers to cover the number. Jacksonville looks like a different team the past couple of weeks, and I just can't lay 6.5 points with them at home. I'm going to take the Panthers plus the 6.5.
Wrong. Like Donald Trump going into the microphone there. Jaguars minus 6.5. Hammer. Worst team in the league. I know Huff's, he's right with his takes, but here's the thing. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to win the AFC South. We pegged it all year long. Too well coached of a team. Too much talent on that team. That defense is too strong to lose this one this week. They know what's on the line. I think they got to get as healthy as they can. Everybody's going to get through it here. If they have to, they'll lean on ETN. If not, they're going to get Ingram going again. They're going to get Ridley going. Those guys, Ridley with a 2-touchdown performance last week. Maybe that garbage time turn up from the Jaguars really at the end is massive going into this week. Maybe they can keep that offense clicking. I think they cover the spread with ease. This will probably be on my card. I'd like that 6.5 as long as it's under 7. I think they cover it. I just don't think the Panthers are able to put up enough points. Maybe I respect the Jaguars defense too much, but I think the Jags get this one done and reclaim their stranglehold on the division.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't get back on track here, then they're in serious trouble and they have some deeper issues. But I think they cover the 6.5 here. Bryce Young, no matter what he does, I mean, he could have a terrible game, he could have a great game, and I still don't think he covers 6.5. He had a pretty good game last week, but like I said, that Packers defense been getting lit up. Tommy DeVito was the offensive player of the week against that defense 2 weeks ago. So if that says anything, but I think Trevor Lawrence, if he plays, gets back on track here. I mean, if he doesn't play, you're going to see a different line here. So I'm anticipating he's playing, but I think they if you're not going to get back on track here, hang him up. So give me the 6.5.
Hang him up, Trevor Lawrence. No, you don't deserve to get into the playoffs if you can't win this one.
You think it's a defensive game? 37.5.
I honestly think that it's defensive from the Jaguars. I don't think the Panthers put up many points. Like if we're going score predictions on this game, I'm going to say it's 31 to 10.
Jags defense has been getting lit up though. I mean, 30 last week to Baker.
That's way more playmakers on that Buccaneers offense than Carolina has though. And no true rushing threat coming out of Carolina as well. I don't know. I think they easily cover this one.
I think it's more like a 24 20 19. Panthers kick a lot of field goals. I'd take 24-19. They cover the spread, but lose by 5.
Yeah, they can see that too. But I think they really get
24-10.
stymied. I think they find offense hard to come by. 31-10 for me. Mackey touchdown off 24-10. But I think
you like that over then?
Yeah, slight, huh? Slightly.
That's that touchdown right there.
Yeah, that one touchdown turns into a field goal and you miss though, right?
I'm gonna go with the under, and I'm gonna go 21-10. I like the -6.5.
Lots of good stuff out of that game. Didn't really expect too much coming out of that one, but lots of good stuff here. Moving forward, another 1:00 matchup here. Arizona Cardinals heading across the country here to visit the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are the favorite here, 10.5 points for them, -590 on the money line. 48 is the total. The trends I got here. The total's gone under in 5 out of Arizona's last 6 games on the road. Arizona 4-1 against the spread in its last 5 games when playing Philadelphia here. 10.5 points is the spread. Ace, why don't you get us going here? What do you think?
Murder. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to slap the Arizona Cardinals here. I think Jalen Hurts is going to keep running up that tush-push total before it's too late. In next season, he's not going to be able to. I think that they're going to win this division. It really starts here. I mean, tough win last week is kind of grimy, but divisional game on Christmas. I mean, what else do you expect? They're playing the Cardinals now. They're going to get going here. They're going to go on a hot streak into the playoffs, I think. This Eagles team is a force to be reckoned with. I think they're going to get to the NFC Championship to face the San Francisco 49ers. But yeah, give me the Eagles here, and I like them to cover that large spread easily.
Yeah, Eagles are gonna win this game. Just gonna take care of business. It's a pretty shitty game. Too high of a spread. Wouldn't be surprised if they covered it. But they haven't been playing too good of football, so it's too high of a spread for me right now. Huff, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say on this one. I hate a 10.5 point spread. I tried to do it with the Chiefs and I bought the half point. They lost outright. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it here with the Eagles. I think they do absolutely stomp them at home. 1:00. The cross country flight for the Cardinals. I like the Eagles to get the job done at home.
Yeah, Huff, and you can feel much more confident in that large spread because A, it's not a divisional matchup, B, it's not on Christmas, and C, it's a way more inferior opponent with that record. I'm right there with you. I'm buying the half a point. I already locked this one in as well. I got it to -10, and I'm riding with that.
I feel like 10.5 is low. Why is basically a
Yeah, I
top
thought
three
it'd be
team?
13.5.
You would think it would be like 13 to 15.
Maybe just because of the way they've been playing as of late, and the Cardinals can put up points
Yeah, I don't
with
know
Kyler
that
Murray.
because I'm thinking like the Bills were just a 12.5 point favorite in LA.
In LA, yeah. I don't know. I think it's a little sketchy.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Agree with you on that one there, Mackie. Let's move forward here to our final 1:00 matchup. The New Orleans Saints heading to Tampa Bay to visit the Bucks. The Bucks, the favorite, -2.5 points. The money line, -142, and the total at 42.5. Trends I got here: the Saints 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games when playing on the road against Tampa Bay. The total has gone under in 6 out of New Orleans' last 7 games against Tampa Bay. What are we thinking here? Our last 1:00 matchup here in Week 17. Mackie, why don't you get us rolling on this one?
Baker is going to win the division this week. The Falcons are going to lose as well. This is going to solidify the division. They're going to be 9-7, and they're going to host a playoff game, probably my Dallas Cowboys. This is a good game. I like this one. I think it's going to be close down to the wire, but I think Baker, at the end of the day, him and Mike Evans just take over football games, and the Saints team is not finding ways to win football games. It's just a story of the season. This Bucks team, I had them winning 4 games this year, completely. They definitely over exceeded my expectations. But Baker's playing incredible football, and that combination right now is just too much for a lot of teams, especially a weak team like the Saints. Give me the Bucks -2.5 at home.
See, I'm on the other side here. I like the Saints to even the records up at 8-8 and force things to go into Week 18. I do agree that the Falcons lose this week, so the Bucks obviously need that to happen. But I think the Saints are going to even things up. Everyone's going to be 8-8, at least these two teams, and then we'll have to see what happens in Week 18. But I've never taken a +2.5. +120 on the money line is kind of tempting here. I've been so wrong about these Saints so many times. I'm not going to have a play on this one probably, and you guys are both, I assume, on the Bucks. So, Ace, I'll let you step in here. I just definitely lean New Orleans. It's so fucking NFC South to go into Week 18 with all these teams tied, and they all have to figure it out in Week 18.
Huff, I cannot believe that you were putting New Orleans Saints on your picks. I can't. You're not going to card them, are you?
No,
No, I was going to say no way with the amount of times they burnt us.
I'm done. I said a couple weeks ago, I'm fucking done touching that team. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I do think that it gets kind of mucky when they all have evened up records. But I think the Bucks are playing really good football right now. They just put a good Jaguars team. I know that they've been bad, but in my opinion, a good Jaguars team. Mike Evans, he's having a great season. Chris Godwin, the last 2 to 3 weeks, has really come into his own. And Rashad White is a top end running back in this league. With that defense too, I think it's going to be a tough day for Kamara. In which case, it'll be tough for Derek Carr. Yeah, I like the Bucks here. I like them to win on the money line. I think maybe if anything by the half point to 2 because it could be a weird score with a missed extra point or something like that. Divisional matchups always get some crazy shit going. But I think the Bucks keep the good times rolling, and they already beat that season win total that we were talking about earlier in the year. I was the only one on it, and I think they can win this NFC South as well. Huge matchup this week. I think it's a close game, but Baker Mayfield does just enough to get things done because he's a clutch quarterback, unlike Derek Carr.
Lots of good stuff there out of the 1 o'clock slate. Let's move forward to the 4 o'clock games here. Steelers and Seahawks next in Seattle. Seahawks the favorite here, 3.5 points. Their money line -168. Steelers money line at +140, and the total at 41.5. Trends I got here: the total's gone under in 6 out of Pittsburgh's last 7 games on the road. Steelers 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 on the road. Seahawks 5-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 5 games when playing at home against Pittsburgh. Huff, what are you thinking here? How the Steelers are going to fare heading into Seattle in Week 17, first 4 o'clock matchup? What do you got?
Yeah, I mean the Steelers always do it. They're gonna go into Week 18 with playoff implications on the line. They got to win this one. Road dogs. It's lining up to all the Steelers. You know everything that we know about the Steelers with Tomlin as the head coach. I think they're good, and they're going with Rudolph again, which I really like. They said Kenny might be healthy for this game. I think even if Kenny's healthy, you got to go with Rudolph with how well that offense just looked last week against a pretty decent Cincinnati team that came in with also playoff implications on the line. This is basically another playoff game. Both of these teams need this win. I like the Steelers. I'll take the points as I normally do with my Steelers. The +140 on the money line, definitely could see that happen. It's just tough going across over to Seattle, tough road environment. But I just don't know. I don't think the Seattle offensive line is going to be able to contain TJ. I think TJ has a big game. I like the Steelers here. I think it's a low scoring bout, and I like the Steelers to cover the number in a low scoring game.
Yeah, I don't have a play on this because every time I pick a play in a Steelers game, it loses, no matter which side I'm on. So I'm just not even going to say a damn word.
For the second time all year, I am going against the Pittsburgh Steelers and I am picking them to lose. So hard to do because that team's the peskiest team out of anybody in the league, especially with Mike Tomlin at the helm. But going to the 12th man, Mason Rudolph, it's not Christmas anymore. You're not lighting it up. There's no red nose. You're going to the 12th man. Seattle's going
Dude,
to
I
be
think
rocking.
I literally think he's better than any other quarterback that we've started all year.
Yeah,
There's
easily.
potential. No, I like Pickett's potential still. He had a down year, and he doesn't show you too much. But I'd still roll with him over Rudolph. There's a reason Rudolph was 3 on the depth chart. He's got to go to a tough place to play football and win a meaningful game. It's going to be dark there. It's going to be getting into the late evening, second half of this game. That's going to be rocking. And the Seahawks are starting to win games. They're going to get back to the playoffs this year. I didn't think they were. They kind of flipped the script on me. Kenneth Walker looking great running the football for them. And then they have that 3-headed monster on the outside. I don't know if JSN is still banged up from running into the wall last week on that drop touchdown catch, but I like them here this week. I think that playing at home is massive in this game. Whoever was at home, I would take in this one. And it happens to be in Seattle. So sorry to say it, Yinzers, but I think the Steelers' ride comes up just short here this week.
Alrighty, let's keep it going here in the 4 o'clock matchups. The Bengals and the Chiefs here next in Kansas City. Chiefs the favorite here by 7 points, even -330 on the money line. The total 44.5. Trends I got here: Chiefs 15-3 straight up in their last 18 Sunday home games. Under is 8-1 in the past 9 meetings between these clubs, and the Bengals are 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 conference games. Who wants to get us rolling here? 4 o'clock matchup, Bengals Chiefs, a game that people thought was going to be all that and another thing. But what are you thinking, Mackie?
Yeah, I can get us started here. I don't think the Chiefs are in any position to be favorites over or 7-point favorites over a team that's over 500 right now. They're just not playing the same football that they have. Patrick Mahomes looks frustrated out there. Receivers aren't running the routes he wants. They're not catching footballs. The offense isn't going. The defense has a tough time going. They just lost a tough game to the Raiders, where the quarterback didn't have a passing yard in the final 3 quarters of the game. Um, Mahomes was very frustrated, couldn't do anything. I think we could see a little more of that this game. I know the Bengals defense isn't all that, but I mean, I don't think the Raiders defense really is either, even though they've been playing like it. Um, I like the 7 points here from the Bengals. I know Jake Browning had a tough game last week. The Steelers defense kind of lit him up, but he's played 3 really good games before that. I think 4 actually, with 4 wins. I think he's 4-1 as a starter. So I'm gonna go back to him to bounce back in this game and keep the Bengals playoff hopes alive. This is a tough game for them. They're 8-7. I'm not saying they're gonna win this game, but I think they're gonna keep it close and at least cover that 7 points. Ace, what do you think?
Muted there. I think that the Chiefs do what they've done to the Bengals. I know they're Joe Barrowless, but throughout the whole Barrow tenure and they little brother him here. I think they are able to cover the 7 points, able to clinch that playoff berth and clinch the AFC West. I don't know if they can do it together in this week, but I think they end up winning the West here. I personally think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, regardless of, I know his play of late isn't the best quarterback in the league, but too good of a player, too good of a team, too well coached of a team to keep falling down these rankings. And when everybody's talking trash on their name, I think for once they're going to step back up and right the ship. I don't think that Jake Browning is going to show us too much. I don't think the Bengals are a playoff team, and I do not think they cover the 7 points this week. Is Jamar Chase in? Is he out? I don't know. That's important for him because Browning looked off without him. Mixon gets the rock a lot, so you can always look for that Mixon ATD. But yeah, I like the Chiefs to get the job done here. I think Kelsey finds the end zone after a lot of hate on him with the Taylor Swift controversy. I think that a lot of hate on Mahomes. Too good of players, Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famers. They're going to get the job done here and right the ship heading into the playoffs. I predict 2 wins in a row for the Chiefs before they go into the AFC grind.
Yeah, I don't love the 7 points here. Every time I take a Chiefs spread, they lose outright. Especially when I take them as a favorite. They're not underdogs very often, but I think that they definitely win this game. They need to win it. I'll definitely use them in a money line parlay probably this weekend, but I do not love the 7 points. That's what I have to say on this game. The Chiefs win. Throw it in a money line parlay. I know it's minus 330 on FanDuel, but put it in anything. I think it's a free leg.
Yeah, Huff, I like that take a lot too. I mean, the Chiefs and spreads are just a weird thing. Always have been, even when they were playing their best football. If you get them at that minus 330, throw them with that leg, what were we saying earlier? The Houston Texans, you get a Texans Chiefs parlay, you're looking just around plus 100, I'd guess. So maybe that's not a bad thing to look at. But yeah, Chiefs, no way they lose this game this week. Knock on wood, but they get the job done here.
Good stuff out of that 4 o'clock matchup. Let's move into our final 4 o'clock matchup here in week 17. Chargers and Broncos in Mile High. The Broncos are the favorite here. 3.5 points for them, minus 188 on the money line, plus 158 on the money line for the Chargers. Total is 37.5. Trends I got here is the total has gone under in 5 out of the Chargers' last 6 games on the road. Denver, 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games when playing at home against the Chargers. What are you guys thinking here at this game? Denver at home, Chargers on the road. What are we thinking here?
Give me the over. Give me the backup quarterbacks to sling the football against pretty weak defenses. 37.5, not enough. I need more. I think Jarrett Stidham, I'm excited to see him. I think Easton Stick's been kind of swinging the football as well, even though they've been getting lit up. But I like the over. I think there could be points here in a throwaway game. Neither of these teams are trying anymore. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, that's about the only thing I'd take on this game because I don't trust either of these teams with this
I
spread.
don't trust anybody with these spreads, especially these
Think about how
quarterbacks in
many
the unknown.
broken
But I
garbage
lean
points you're gonna
Stidham
get
over
being
Stick.
over.
I lean Stidham over Stick. He looked good in the last time we saw him, and Stick has looked awful in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not touching this game. A little trash bowl, toilet bowl matchup here. Even though the Broncos aren't mathematically eliminated, but two disappointing ends to the season for both these squads that were kind of peaking in the middle of the year. We thought either one of them could have pushed for the playoffs. I was more on the Chargers. Y'all were on the Russell Wilson Broncos. But now all this controversy. I mean, no one's going to be watching this one. This is going to be the last
Yeah,
game
fuck the
on in your
Broncos. I hate them now.
425 slate. I mean, yeah, I think they're both done for the year.
Tough matchup there for sure to finish out the 4 o'clock slate. Let's move on to our Sunday night football. matchup for this week. The Packers and the Vikings in Minnesota. Vikings are the favorite here, just 2 points for them, minus 126 on the money line. Packers plus 108, total at 46.5. Trends I have here: Vikings are 19-3 straight up in their last 22 games as the favorite. Packers 17-2 straight up in their last 19 games played in December, but they've lost the last 2 straight. Over is 8-3 in Green Bay's last 11 games on the road. Huff, why don't you get us started here? Sunday Night Football for Week 17, a game that will definitely be featured on our live stream Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and Rumble, so make sure to tune in for that. Huff, what do you got for this matchup here in Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Packers here in this spot. I think that they keep their playoff push alive, divisional matchup, divisional underdog. I like them to win this game and keep their playoff hopes alive. I also like there to be a lot of points scored in this matchup as well. Over 46.5, and the Packers might tease those together. Get the Packers plus 6 and over 40.5. I'd love that even more. That's how I'm feeling on this game. I think Minnesota's season's over. Give me the Packers to keep on fighting. Certain teams just find ways to win and late in the season, and the Packers are one of them. With playoff implications on the line, I think the Packers get the job done.
I mean,
Huff, I'm
those
with you here.
Vikings. Yeah, go for it, Mackie.
Yeah, I'm with you here. There's no Monday Night Football here. We got to go with the Sunday Night Football game on the underdogs. Give me the Packers on the money line. Jordan Love to have a big game. I think this Vikings team they went through that little stretch in the middle of the season where they won like 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7. That was a fluke. This team is not a playoff team. They're not a very good team. They got Nick Mullins throwing the football. Jetta's keeping their hopes alive.
Yeah,
I guess
Jettis
I don't
looks
even
good.
know, but. I'm gonna go with the Packers here, even without Jair Alexander and everything going on with that. But I just think they're the better team. Jordan Love's gonna play some better football, um, and just kind of keep rolling, keep their season alive.
Yeah, funny scenario with Jair Alexander there in the coin toss and
It's
whatnot. But
crazy. You see what he said?
No,
He was like, Coach should have made me captain. He knows I'm from Charlotte or something like that.
Dude, it was like I'd fucking suspend his ass too. I'd be like, I don't give a shit if we have to win this game or not.
that's like a peewee football type thing right
He
there.
went out for the coin toss because he's from Charlotte and he felt he should have been captain, and he like made a scene, I guess.
But then there was
that's
something that he
crazy.
was a captain. I heard that there was something that he was a captain, and he was supposed to be out there, and they wanted to defer, and he elected to kick it so he could go right out on the field or something like that.
Oh, I don't know. I read it on the scores, or not on the score, on All Sports
Yeah.
News on Instagram.
They were
and it said-
talking about it on ESPN today, and I heard something like that. I don't know how true all that is, but
Either way,
mean-
like what an idiot! What an
dude,
arrogant
he's
son of
that
a-
kind of dude. I can totally see him doing that.
And he's been getting toasted so far this year. Lucky for him, he's not playing in this one. Else Jettis would have exposed him like all the other receivers before him this season. I was high on him coming in the last couple of years too. But yeah, I mean, I like the Vikings here. I think they're able to put up more points. I know Mullins is at the helm.
West
I don't-
Virginia, baby,
I was gonna say WVU is smoking this
27-10.
Oh, let's go.
Sorry, Ace.
Yeah, Duke's Mayo Bowl. That's all right. Mayonnaise is an instrument, but no, I got the Vikings here this week to cover the spread, 2 points. With Jettis on the field, that makes the world of difference to me. I think Hawkinson's done for the year, which is kind of a huge blow. But I think with Jettis out there, he's able to get the job done and get enough points, enough yards himself, put the team on his back, so to say. Divisional matchup, rivalry matchup. Both these teams are fighting to stay in the bubble race. I personally said that the Rams and Seahawks get in, so I don't think, regardless of who wins this game, I don't think they get in. But give me the Vikings here. For argument's sake, we're not going with a clean sweep on the Packers here. Not too sold on Jordan Love, even though he's impressed this year. Yeah, skull.
Alrighty, I think that's going to just about wrap up everything we got in the NFL here this week. Finishing off there with Sunday Night Football, no Monday matchups this week. All right, moving forward here, let's move forward to the NHL here. The Winter Classic is on Monday, January 1st, 3 p.m., Seattle, Washington at T-Mobile Park, the home of the Seattle Mariners. Vegas will visit Seattle outdoors for this year's Winter Classic. Going to be an interesting one here. Two of the newest teams in the league battling it out for the Winter Classic. You guys got any, what are you guys thinking on this matchup?
Yeah, obviously, Winter Classic's pretty cool every year. They couldn't have picked two less historic teams to put in it. Obviously, trying to get the two Western teams, which they haven't done in a while, at least I recall. Obviously, last year, Ace, it was my Penguins and your Bruins up at Fenway, which obviously was a good matchup. Classic venue. This is just kind of a weird one up in Seattle. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be noon in Seattle. So another weird one. It's going to be like really bright. I kind of like when they do it later in the day, but I don't know. This is going to be an interesting one. The uniforms are pretty sick for Seattle. But obviously Vegas is a powerhouse. I'll probably go ahead and bet Vegas.
Yeah, same here, Huff. I love them in the primetime spots.
Yeah.
I think this should be like a 5 o'clock, like an 8 o'clock Eastern time game.
That's
5
what I
o'clock
said.
game
Why
in
isn't this 5
Seattle.
o'clock, 8 o'clock?
That would be pretty sick. But I like what they're doing. I mean, how many times we've seen the Rangers, the Bruins, the Penguins in these outdoor
They're
games?
looking at teams that sell.
I understand, but like they've done it so many times. I mean, how many Winter Classic jerseys do the Penguins have? Like 7.
Bruins have
Three.
I
3.
swear to God.
Bruins have 3 or 4
3.
stadium like outdoor
It's
jerseys.
ridiculous. I mean, it's
Yeah,
cool.
we
to
have a
get the-
stadium. Yeah, but
you
See-
get the new demographic in there. I mean, it's kind of cool. I like it.
is it
I like the
announced for
idea.
next year? Because I remember last year, whenever we were watching the Winter Classic for the Penguins and Bruins, this is when there was
Yeah, they
like
announced the
rumors
day
of
of.
this. Is that what it is? Day of?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right, that's pretty sick. So who do we think it's going to be? Like, if they're going with teams that haven't been in it, they're definitely all right. This
don't
year
know.
they're doing this. Next year it's going to be classic teams. So give me
I think
like
they're gonna do Classic next year. I think that they're gonna,
Toronto.
Oh, you think
Fucking-
they get Badizzi in the Winter Classic?
Chicago. That'd be
Toronto,
cool. Chicago versus
Toronto,
Detroit.
Chicago, Detroit. Yeah.
That'd be a
Yeah,
good
that'd be-
one.
I think
Original
they wanna
6
see
matchup.
Austin Matthews versus Connor Bedard.
Yeah, it depends
Leafs
on what you
minus
want to
3.
get to sell. Yeah, maybe not by then, Huff. Hopefully they can spend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And to answer your question, why it's in that 3 o'clock slate, I mean, this dominates the TV coverage on New Year's Day. Not much else on at that time. So you got the
Yeah, that's
football
the
games on
problem.
later. You got the football
Yeah,
games on later.
they didn't want to compete with the football games, I think.
Yeah, they'll dominate the TV for that hour. I think this will be fun to watch. Great jerseys, Vegas Golden Knights. We're gonna lock that in. We might even put that out there on the team card. So definitely tune in for that one.
Good stuff there. With that, let's jump into our power rankings here in the NHL. Starting out with number 5, the Dallas Stars. Number 4, the Boston Bruins. Number 3, the Vegas Golden Knights. Number 2, the Vancouver Canucks. Number 1, the New York Rangers. What are you guys thinking here coming into this week's power rankings? Solid list, straight up. Bruins there at number 4, Ace. Rangers at number 1. What are you guys thinking?
Look at those Rangers on top. Look at them eat.
They better cover this puck line tonight. That's all I'm telling you. Washington Capitals, fungal. But no, the Bruins pretty banged up and losing some 3 overtime games out of the last 4 total games. That's kind of weird, but they'll get healthy and get back to their ways. Happy the Dallas Stars cracked that list. That was my Western Conference pick coming into the year. A lot of people question me on that when they asked me who I like out of the West. Avs missing just out. They're like right there with the Bruins and the Stars. Those 2 teams I think are the best in the West besides the Vegas.
It's a
Golden
coin
Knights.
flip for who you could put at 5 between Dallas and Colorado, in my opinion.
Yeah, happy to see Dallas get in there because they're deserving of it, and not much chatter about them in the NHL world, but a great roster, team that you don't want to see in the playoffs. They can go 7 with you, 4 lines deep. Yeah, you got Winnipeg Jets on the outside looking in. Helly really carrying them. I know Kyle Connor's on the shelf for a bit, so that's kind of a big blow. LA Kings playing good hockey
Kings are
too.
right there.
Detroit Red Wings pretty banged up. That's why they've been slipping so far. I thought they were going to be a little bit better this year, but no goaltending now at the moment with 2 on the shelf. But yeah, I like our list so far this year. Anybody else you guys looking at on the outside that isn't in our top 5?
Yeah, I think the Kings are sitting right there. They just haven't played a lot of games, so they're sitting lower in the standings. But they win a lot of games too. I mean, the Leafs maybe.
I was going to say, I
Panthers.
just think the
Leafs
Leafs
are
are so
electric.
good. They just don't have the record to put up there.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean, the Leafs
electric,
are
though.
definitely one of the scariest teams.
They don't have
you don't wanna
goaltending
beat.
though.
They don't have a
Winnipeg,
lot. I
they
feel
keep
like it's
winning.
they just have the firepower up front, but I feel like I don't know.
They just brought in
They just have a
Martin
lot of
Jones.
weak-
He's
lot
going
of
to steal
weak-
the job from Samsonov and Wool. Wool's on the shelf, but
Yeah, a lot of weak spots in that roster.
yeah, it'll be interesting as it heats up. I like our list right
Recruit-
now, though. Mackie, look at your boys rolling. Hopefully, they can get it back to the ship.
Gotta keep it going. Yeah, I don't know if I want that President's Trophy though. We saw it. We saw them.
Let
Gladly
Vancouver
give it
get
to
it.
you.
Let Vancouver get it. They got the best record in the league right now.
Yeah, and they're new and up and coming. It'd be a perfect scenario for them to just go in and shit the bed in the playoffs
Yep.
and then get ready for next year.
Yep.
Lots of good
Be
stuff
the
there.
1 seed, but don't be the 1 seed that gets the President's Cup.
Right.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Lots of good stuff there out of the NHL. Hopefully some more on the Winter Classic come next week once we see that game. Jumping over to the NBA, the Detroit Pistons have lost 27 straight games dating back to October of this season. They're on pace for the worst record in modern NBA history. How long do we see this streak lasting? 27 games is something else. What are we thinking?
This team started 2-0. Remember that. They're 2-27 and they're on a 27-game losing streak. Insane.
Well, here's the crazy part. So they're at 27 right now. Their next two are in Boston and then at home against the Raptors. Raptors aren't very good. They could lose that one. Say they lose to the Raptors. We look past that. In Houston on New Year's Day, another iffy one.
You're not winning.
Utah.
They're not winning in a primetime spot.
Yeah, okay. Then in Utah, in Golden State, in Denver, home against the Kings, home against the Spurs. I think we could be waiting until that Spurs game, January 10th, for them.
Well, somebody's going to have to win that game because the Spurs hate winning too.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is insane, dude. I mean, how bad is this team? Cade's playing good basketball, too. They just cannot find a way to win a game.
They had to start 2-1 because they're 2-28, so they had to go 1-0, then 1-1.
I thought they were 2-27. You're right.
They're 2-28. So yeah, they had to have a win, and then they started this.
Detroit loves those bad records. I saw they were on pace to go 5-77 throughout the 82 this year, which is nuts. I mean, they had that 0-16 Lions losing season. They had a 235 win percentage from the Wings a couple years ago, and the Tigers.
I was just gonna say because watching this team, I watched them last night because I had the Nets money line in a parlay just because I've been kind of fading them riding this streak just with money line. Like they're not valuable, but I just take them in a 2-leg parlay with another team, and I'm more worried about the other leg than the one playing the Pistons. But I was watching this game for a good bit last night because my second leg was the Clippers later on, and the Pistons aren't as bad as the streak seems. Like they've been the last couple of games. Like last night, I think the spread was 6.5. They covered the spread. I obviously just had the Nets money line, so I didn't really give a shit. But like Mackie said, Cade Cunningham's playing good basketball. Like, I don't know which Thompson brother they have, but he's been good when he's in the lineup. He's been out the past couple of games. I don't know. I just think this is a really young team. They need to spend some money and get a veteran up there to come kind of show all these young guys what they can do because they have a lot of skill in that locker room. They're just all like 22 years old and under.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with these NBA teams, these young NBA teams, that they just need a lot of time to develop, and they'll get there. But yeah,
they're going to be like the Thunder in like 4 years.
I don't know if they're going to be that good. This Thunder team they still have. Do you know the draft picks they got?
Potential. I'm saying like more like. I know. No, exactly. I know the draft picks they have. Exactly. That's why it's more like, I'm just saying like bigger picture. You draft the whole young team. You kind of suck, but like you don't really get that big veteran in there. Like the Thunder really are all a young core. You know what I mean? They just built that young core. They were like, listen, we're not really going to care about this year, next year. Let's just build for the future around, Cade Cunningham, whatever that Thompson brother is. I still don't know his name. I think it's like Ostoir or
it's a sir.
It's a sir. What's the other one? Amen or Amen?
Yeah, Amen.
Thompson. He's a Rocket, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. I'll never remember that again. You'll be telling me that for a while, but I still think that Pistons team isn't that bad, but I think this streak could get up. It could get up into mid-January, which is crazy, dude. They haven't won a game since before Halloween.
It's terrible, yeah. I don't understand like how a basketball team just loses this many games in a row. But yeah, they're going to be competing with like that 76ers team, that Charlotte Bobcats team. They could literally be the worst team.
Like they're not as bad as that Cavs team that I watched the year after LeBron left.
Record-wise, yes, but you're saying like they play better basketball?
Yeah, they're not as hard to watch.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I haven't watched many Pistons games this year, so I don't know.
I don't blame you. Yeah,
but it's funny to watch this.
Like I said, I've only done it because I keep taking them, and whenever I do a 2-leg parlay and the second leg's the later at night, like a West Coast game, I'm like, fuck it, I have nothing else better to do. I'll just watch the Detroit Pistons.
With that, let's jump into our power rankings here for this week in the NBA. Number 5, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 4, the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 3, the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 2, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And number 1, the Boston Celtics to finish off that list. What do you guys think there? You guys got a good talk about the Pistons. Surprised they didn't make the list, but what do you guys think?
Ace, real quick, before we get into that, you asked those Rangers to cover that puck line, and they they heard you, and they came through 3-1 Rangers. Okay, let's get into the NBA power rankings here.
They scored 2 really fast because last time I turned around it was 1-1.
Back to back, 2 goals in 40 seconds.
I saw it was 1-0.
I just have the money line.
Nice. But yeah, no, happy to see the Oklahoma City Thunder jumping into our power rankings. I've been talking about it for a while. Jumped a game on the Magic, so they were able to steal that spot. Good to see them there. They're fully healthy, really young team, depth everywhere. So I think they could be a problem for one of the top end teams matching up with them and come playoff time. Shout out the Boston Celtics, best team in New England, honestly, right now. 23-6. That's nuts. And they're primed for a big position. We all knew this was coming, and they're gonna be around there for a while.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say on this one. I haven't been watching, obviously. This was the first year Christmas Day. Like, I did not sit down and watch basketball. The NFL officially did it. They took over Christmas Day. I was just flicking when the NFL wasn't on. I would flick to the
Lakers
basketball games.
Celtics.
That was really the only game I was like sit down. I wanted to have on, but like I was trying to watch that Nuggets Warriors game in the afternoon. I just couldn't get into it, and then the late games. I ended up betting Heat and Suns money line. Suns are fucking dumpster fire right now. KD, obviously, we could
Banged up,
see
too.
him wouldn't be surprised to see him get out of there before the end of the season. Loves getting traded, so wouldn't mind seeing him move on. I mean, get him out of the West and make it an easier path, eliminate one of those teams out there. But that's just kind of my take on the NBA right now. Is I was so into it, and this was the first year I just didn't watch it on Christmas Day. I haven't watched it in the past week or so. So I just know the Thunder keep doing their thing. They're obviously a young team on the rise, and Philadelphia and Milwaukee are just sitting there. They're obviously legit teams in the East, but Ace, your Celtics have been legit and definitely the top team.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll get some more coverage on that as these football seasons wind down, both college and pro. Looking forward to that. I think the Suns might be able to rebound by the time we get into some heavy NBA talk.
Good stuff there, boys. That's going to wrap up everything we got in the NBA this week. Moving over to the college football world. Am I reading through just these 5 games you want to talk about, or are you?
Those are more like the games that I'm just going to read the spread for, and like we can just, you know what I mean.
All right, so I'm just going to kind of pass it to you. Let's move into college football here. Bowl season is officially underway here. Come up this weekend. Huff, why don't you take it away here and give us our college football segment for this week's episode?
Absolutely, yeah. Whenever I can find these, obviously the bowl games that actually matter. A lot of games going on throughout the week. We cashed on. It's looking like we're gonna cash on WVU. I think is that WVU on the goal line, Mackie, down there.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, it's looking like we're going to cash this WVU -6 and the Mayo Bowl. Obviously, we got the good ones coming up this weekend. We're going to start first out with the Peach Bowl. We have Ole Miss and Penn State, number 11 versus number 10. Penn State's a 4.5-point favorite in this one, the Saturday noon game to start things off. Penn State a -200 on the money line. I do like Penn State in this spot. They're I know they're building for next year. They're starting with a lot of their younger 5-star recruits coming in for this game. I don't know exactly the number of starters that they're going to be missing. I do lean on Penn State in this matchup. Mackie, I don't know if you have any too much of an opinion on any of these spreads. I know it is early. That's just more one that I had my eyes on in the out of the bigger bowls. The other one on Saturday is Georgia Florida State, or we can just jump right into that.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about Ole Miss Penn State, but I think Georgia actually rolls Florida State. What's the spread? Have you seen it?
Yeah, so that's the 4 o'clock Saturday game, the Orange Bowl, Georgia, Florida State. Florida State without Tate Rodemaker as he's announcing his transfer from Florida State, which is pretty interesting, but that's a whole nother topic. Georgia -19.5 in this game, -1,700 on the money line, over under 44.5. I do agree with you there. I'm slamming Georgia minus the 19.5 in this game. I think they don't even make it close. I think that they obviously are going to make their case as to why they should have been that team to get in. But I mean, neither here nor there. I think that obviously I don't think Florida State's going to put up much of a fight in this one. I love Georgia here. See, and then that's really it. I guess that Iowa Tennessee game, that is a pretty good one. That's one of the New Year's Day bowl ones. We have the Citrus Bowl with Iowa Tennessee. I'm big on this Tennessee team. Have been all year. Iowa loves to play these low scoring games. So they're bringing some of those Iowa numbers into this spread with Iowa as a 6.5-point underdog, -250 on the money line for Tennessee, with Iowa +202 and the over under 35.5. I like Tennessee to cover the number here. I also love the under. Every Iowa under, I have to jump on it. That's why I wanted to discuss this one. I am going to go ahead and take that the under in that one, Mackie. We rode that all year. I feel like we got to do it one last time and send it off right. It's
Yeah,
scary
I
with
mean, I
Tennessee, but
did.
you got to trust Iowa to just not
Nah,
put up
nah,
points.
I do. I'm trusting it. I like it. Every Iowa under. I mean, um, what was that? What was that one? 25.5, I think it was, and it still stayed under, which is absolutely incredible. But
Yeah,
I'm with you. I just keep riding that. That'll be a play on the card. Blind play. I don't care about it. I don't care. I'll call it a blind play. We are taking it.
it's a system play. Just take every Iowa
System
under.
play.
Everyone else does it, and they still hit. So
Once that
don't
quarterback
worry
got
about
hurt,
overthinking
I
that
forget
one.
his name. He was a transfer from
McNamara.
McNamara. Yeah. Transfer from Michigan.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I always get him and JJ McCarthy confused for some reason, just because the names is kind of
Yeah,
similar.
exactly. But yeah, I think once he got hurt, I sent him in my other group chat. I was like, Iowa unders are free for the rest of the season, and every single game has gone under since then.
Yeah. All right. Obviously, now we have the two big ones, the college football playoff games with Alabama versus Michigan. Michigan, a 1.5 point favorite, which is kind of crazy to me in this game. Minus 128 on the money line and the over under 44.5. Do you have any opinion on this game yet? Or are you going to be waiting to see if this line moves any bit to Alabama a little bit more plus the points? Could it become a pick 'em? Which way are you leaning on this one? I originally was all Alabama. Now I'm starting to see kind of ways that Michigan could win this
So
game. I,
so
I don't have an opinion on this one right now.
so much money on Alabama. There is so much money on Alabama. It's like the most bet thing too. Um, So it's definitely scary. I do love Alabama in this spot though. I mean, how many times we've seen Michigan get here and not be able to get past this point. I don't love that team this year either. I think that they had a pretty cupcake schedule. They beat Ohio State. That's literally it. Penn State's not a real contender. They beat Ohio State. They won the big game, as you want to call it, and that gets them a spot in the college football playoff because that Big Ten is it's kind of a joke nowadays, to be honest. But um, I bet Alabama's rolling. Milroe's playing really good football. You have the better coach, obviously. It's just sketchy. I mean, there's so much money on it, but I mean, we've seen games like Colorado, Nebraska. Colorado ended up covering that game with like 93% of the bets on them. So we have seen crazier things. I lean Alabama. Not going to lock anything in yet. See how this line moves as well. But yeah, I guess it's an early lean, but definitely a sketchy play. Gonna keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I definitely am right there with you. I lean Alabama in the first game. Don't want to lock anything in yet officially. Even if it does go to a pick 'em, I'm probably still going to lean with Alabama unless the money splits do get pretty crazy. It is kind of out of hand. So let's see. We will get in this next game where we have Texas taking on Washington. Texas, a 4.5 point favorite in this one, minus 184 on the money line, and the over under is 62.5. I lean Texas here. I like Texas. I don't love the minus 4.5. This is where I was thinking about teasing Bama and Texas. I think that we can get that rematch where obviously the perfect scenario would be Alabama beats Texas in the national championship, where Texas came into Alabama earlier on this season, won that big game. That's why Texas is here right now. I think Texas has everything that they need to beat this Washington team, and I'm huge on I don't know how to say his name, but the receiver Odunze or Odunes, whatever his name is, I think he's an absolute
Dunze or whatever.
animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's an absolute beast. I think he has a great game, but I just lean Texas here. I just think this is Texas's year to make it to the championship.
Yeah, I think Texas found their way into the playoffs by I mean the only reason they're in I think is because they beat Bama and they couldn't put Bama in without putting Texas in. So that gets Texas here. I do really like Texas this year too. I'm not really downplaying them. But how many times is Washington going to be overlooked and not favored against these top teams? And they just got to keep proving everyone wrong. They were not favorites at home against Oregon. They played Oregon in a mutual spot, 11-point underdogs, outright winners. I mean, how much more do they have to prove? Michael Penix playing incredible football. He's getting the job done week in, week out. Probably should have won Heisman. I shouldn't say that. He probably shouldn't win Heisman, but he's right up there, top
No,
three.
yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know. It's Texas. It's Texas. We see it every single year. But they actually made it to the college football playoff this year, so maybe it's a little different. But I just don't think that they're completely back yet. I'm gonna go with Washington here. I think the value is there, and I think it's gonna be a close one. So give me Washington.
Alrighty, that's just about, I think, everything we got there for college football. Coming here this weekend is bowl weekend. Lots of games to be played, lots of action. We'll make sure to have our plays out on that on Instagram and Twitter. I think that's it for this week here, boys. Week 17, the NFL, the Winter Classic coming up here on Monday, NBA, college football, college basketball, all rolling. But that's all I got here this week. Anything else to add before we get out of here?
Obviously, like you said, the live stream on Sunday, make sure you're tuning into that. Make sure you stay in tune for our video tomorrow for our takes on this Thursday night game. Other than that, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. We'll see you Sunday for the live stream. Make sure you're tuning in for that. We appreciate all the support. Other than that, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.